think that's how it's. I think I did it right this time.
Jkoper.
Am I right? Jkoper. That's even more interesting. So yeah, we will be having this this two-persons race today. I'm gonna send you off to the correct layout, and then I will give everything to over here, Xiomilin. Am I correct?
Just call me Taco.
Oh, you're Taco. What a great name. And Victor Serafe on commentators and trackers. So I will give the microphone to them.
All right. Welcome and good morning, afternoon, evening. How are you all doing, chat? We've got a good race, hopefully, here in front of us. We've got two top-tier runners, and I'm excited to see how it's gonna go.
Yeah, well, we have traiLZ, who is current champion of the Max Randomizer Tournament, and we have jkoper, who always is at least in the semifinals, and he had the third place on the routing royale we just had like 2 months ago. So yeah, this will be great. Randomizer is very luck based, but these guys will have all the skill it takes to win the race. So we will see what this thing throws at them.
All right, and both of our runners are off now.
Yeah, so these bracket flags are a little bit harder than the Swiss rounds. One of the difference, as you can see on jkoper's side, is that the caves are dark because they don't start with the candle, and there's a high probability that the players will never get the candle, so they will have to navigate all the caves in the dark. And that's a bit more easier than it sounds. It is not that hard once you get used to that.
Yeah, and one of the real tricky things that will make it harder in this flag set is that large and small enemies are mixed up. So the very first cave jkoper had found was the medicine cave, which could potentially have an item in it. A useful item. It could also have some junk like a pea bag, although that would be good in this beginning. But I'm rambling. It normally has a handful of small enemies on that first bridge. jkoper opted to leave because at levels 111, it's just way too dangerous when you can't see what's on there.
Yeah, and that first screen that normally has small enemies can have red Dyras and blue gorillas and things that you don't want to face with these levels. So yeah, very wise choice.
And traiLZ, on the other hand, choosing to try and grind some overworld encounters, taking an unfortunate death to this red Dyra here. The bubbles do not make things any easier.
And jkoper just got the boots out of the grass tile.
A very nice early find is going to make traversing the overworld a whole lot easier and safer.
Yeah, that's one of the things that could be changing on the new updates. There's an option to make the boots only usable in certain spots, not in all the water tiles like it currently is, and it will be more similar to what happens in vanilla. So yeah, use them while they last.
Yep, and we've got the boots pickup for traiLZ as well. jkoper's taking... Let's see, is this a pass-through? I missed the beginning of it.
Cave.
Item cave.
Maybe?
All right, I had missed the beginning.
Well, this room can be in both a pass-through and in an item cave. This is the right side of the ferry cave, or it could be the hard container cave. However, I don't think the players have ferry to go there yet, so that's why I'm pretty sure it is an item cave. And it is the medicine.
Medicine's not a bad pickup for jkoper, because he has already seen the town of Mito, where he would need to turn that medicine in for a spell.
Yeah, having
Trail?
access. Oh,
Sorry, go ahead. Oh, I was going to say, traiLZ has dipped into Death Mountain and is at least doing a quick check around. We've got a Palace 1 sighting on jkoper's side. It's definitely an interesting strategy with traiLZ, dipping into Death Mountain this early. See if he's just taking a peek at available caves, or if he's actually going to try and, do some connectors in there.
Yeah, traiLZ is one of those players that kind of plays this game so much that he gets gut feelings about what the city's telling him. So if he's here, is because probably he feels like maybe there's something here, but well, he just checked the caves he had available and just appanate out of there.
jkoper getting blocked by a key door. We're grinding up a little experience to get attack 2 for Upnane and heading right back into Palace 1.
Yeah, we see a boulder block cave. Those are still only item caves. That will change with the update. So far, they are guaranteed to be item caves.
jkoper finding the back end of Saria, as well as another dungeon. And it is Dungeon 5. traiLZ making his way to the north. Oh, and then Palace 3 or 6. Got the Magic Jar Container Cave on jkoper's side. Only 6 enemies in there, so hopefully shouldn't be too difficult.
Yeah, jkoper was in zombie mode. Finally takes a death, but well, he has more lives and he got rid of half the enemies in this cave, so that's
and
not bad.
traiLZ is in the town of Rauru, about to get his first spell, which is Fire. At this low magic level, probably not worth it. However, a couple magic levels, depending on what Fire is linked to, it could be very useful. And jkoper gets the raft.
I don't remember if fire spell is combined in these flags. I believe it isn't, but well, hopefully who is in chat can maybe tell us.
Right, jkoper seeing the town of Rudo and immediately leaving because there are no hints in this game. In this flag set, but quickly finding the correct end of Saria in order to find the mirror and get a spell.
Yeah, so we will see what the spell in the town of Saria is, while traiLZ, after getting his medicine, will see where he goes. And it is a reflect spell. So, magic container cave for traiLZ. As you know, there are quite a few enemies. Let's hope he has enough lives. He's already in zombie mode and takes a death. And he has 2 more lives, thankfully.
jkoper making his way to Rauru, so he's about to get his fire spell. And assuming I have these flags right in my setup, looks like fire is still combined with a random spell as far as these brackets flag set goes.
Yeah, I love that option. I don't think it makes the game easier. I think it just makes it more interesting. Oh, nice. The Alan Helpley giving us a confirmation that it will be combined the whole tournament. So yeah, I love it. I approve.
Okay, jkoper using his newly found raft.
So sorry, I got kind of... I got out of the track with the last comment I did, and I missed what trails picked up in the Magic Container Cave. Was it the raft there?
I'm pretty sure that Magic Container Cave was what had the raft.
Okay, thank you. So to answer to Nathan Alder Sr., who hasn't seen Z2R before, yeah, all the map in the overworld is randomized, completely generated by the randomizer. And yeah, all the enemies, the locations, the rooms inside palaces are shuffled. So yeah, pretty much a new game every time you play it. However, we're waiting for the new update that will make this even wackier. And trail's picking up the Reflect spell.
Yep, and meanwhile, jkoper finding the desert tile that has an item, getting the cross, which is quite timely because he's found Old Kasuto to get the shield spell. Not necessarily required, but at this low level could certainly be useful.
Yeah, quality of life, without a doubt. We will see what happens with the updates. I'm sorry I'm talking a lot about the update, but I think it's a topic of interest because now the players are picking the shield spell because they don't know it is the shield spell, but with the updates you will probably know before you walk through the town. Will you get it or will you not? That's a big question, and that will decide some races.
Yep, sure enough. One of the new upcoming options is to have the signs that normally give the town names instead reflect the name of the spell that is in the town. jkoper trying to go through one of the pass-throughs in the east, putting, that shield spell he just got to some good use. But the east is fraught with peril. Lots of very tough enemies, including this Lizalfos here he's trying to take on. Using a very smart strategy of standing, the one kind of tile above it. It's a very nice way, especially when they get stuck in overworld encounters where they're half in the ground, because you can kind of just stand there and stab their head and they can't do anything about it.
Yep.
trails, meanwhile, is continuing to patrol the west, seeing if he can find more item caves, maybe, possibly another town.
Oh, that's an interesting location where that cave led jkoper to, and a giant swamp. So as I've said before, these giant swamps are the way that Big J incorporated into this game for mining bitcoins. He calls his coin, he calls it the swamp box. So yeah, every time a player walks to the swamp, they are generating bitcoins as they walk through it. So that's why we have such huge swamps in this game.
Yep. traiLZ turning in his water of life to the old woman in Mito and getting the life spell in return.
Now jkoper going through the medicine cave that he decided to not go into when he started the game.
traiLZ has made his way to the east. And we've got the flute there in Medicine Cave.
Yeah, not bad. Tired, or it could be convenient. traiLZ picking up his shield spell out of Olkasudo. And about to take a death. Don't read the sign. The soft lock is still not fixed in this version. And jkoper going back to the eastern continent.
Yep, and traiLZ has picked up his cross from that desert tile there.
And a tiny glitch in jkoper's side where the tile below the raft tile was a breach encounter, but it showed up as a water tile. So yeah, that was kind of a glitch.
Like, jkoper might be pausing to write some information down that we as trackers can see on his webcam, but is not shown on the restream. And we've got a heart container pickup for traiLZ out of one of the two P-bag caves on the east.
And yeah, the Allenham fleet tells us that there's a little bridge that is useless below the raft tile, and I guess the water tile that had the bridge encounter just for some reason got in the wrong position, and it originally belonged to that bridge tile. So traiLZ finding Great Palace out in the open in the eastern continent.
jkoper having a lot of trouble trying to leave this cave. As you can kind of see the shadows on the bottom, there are the flying moa that are just general pains in the butt. Some of my least favorite enemies in the game.
Yeah, especially early, they hurt a lot, and yeah, the pattern they use, it's pretty random, so pretty hard to know how to consistently avoid them or fight them. Trail's finding the weird bridge encounter and the weird bridge.
jkoper forgetting about it accidentally walks back onto it and is heading straight east this time rather than going through the water.
Yeah, and tonight we have a special edition of the Z2 Randomizer Tournament. This is Guess the Song that traiLZ has on. So yeah, chat, you're doing a great job. So yeah, this is a pretty weird Eastern continent. We see both players having quite a bit of trouble finding their way through it.
jkoper getting really unfortunate with these encounters here. Now, the Swiss flags had it so if you grabbed an encounter while you were on a road, it would be a safe encounter. That has changed in these flags, and it seems like today they are lava encounters, which are notorious for having the flying moas in them that'll just knock you right back into one of the lava pits. Oh, and it looks like he found the forest tile that will hold new Kasuto in it, but no hammer sighted yet.
Yeah, that could end up being required or not. We will see. And we see the players going out of their way for some experience, and these are top tier players, so you can guess how hard the enemies are in this one. They are really tough for these guys going out of the way for pivacs or for killing Lysafos.
jkoper finding Nibiru, which is in Vanilla's Fire Town, essentially is a free spell for him.
Yeah, you just need to pick up some water for House Arrest Lady.
And it's the fairy spell.
Yeah, required almost all of the time, and besides being required, really helpful.
Got a Palace foresighting, as well as the water tile, which has a candle.
Yeah, I kind of jinxed the candle appear on the beginning of the race that I said that the players wouldn't pick it up probably, but now jkoper has it.
And even though it's not technically a required item, with how tough some of these caves and encounters have been, I'm sure it is a welcome sight. Was that an unintentional pun? jkoper in an item cave, but it's like just a pea bag with only a measly 100 experience in it, so a little disappointing there. Taking his frustration out on that blue Lizalfos.
Yeah, Krista Joy is absolutely right. In this kind of seed, you are just starving for the downstep technique. Thankfully, jkoper has the fairy spell, so he has access to it. But as he's on the eastern continent, he needs to check out things before going back to the western continent for the downstep technique. And trails on Maze Island.
Finds Palace 2. Opting to smartly refill his life with his magic and walk back in to refill his magic. Some good farming there.
Yeah, he's looking for the items. Both players still looking for the glove, so trailz is hoping for a glove here that will allow him to enter Palace 2 without a worry. If he doesn't find the glove here, I don't know if he will go into the palace. That's a probability. However, he doesn't have the fairy spell, so probably he won't.
Yeah, that would be my thinking. Palace 2 only has one single room that's blocked by the glove, unless you get unlucky in the falling block room. But it would be more the key doors, I think, that would potentially trip him up, as you mentioned. Doesn't have the fairy spell, maybe he could get lucky, and the other item here is the any key. jkoper finding the second item cave on his end over in the east.
Yeah, and picks up the heart container that I believe trailz picked up a little while ago.
Correct. And I believe jkoper is on his last life, so you may see him trying to, get some kills just to get enough experience to take a level. Because it's not me saying anything against the skill of both our racers here, just how rough these encounters have been. I feel it's a, not an if, but a when another game over happens and sends them back to the west and robs them of any unspent experience.
Yeah, and trailz finding the glove in Maze Island, as we said. Somehow it happened, and now he's going to Palace 2 without a worry. Well, he has a worry. Well, I'm wrong, so he walks out because he still doesn't have the any key or the fairy spell.
Yeah, so just going into the palaces to do a quick up A to get all his lives back. It's definitely a smart play.
So yeah, trailz checks out the town of Darunia, not interested. We see the entrance to Valley of Death, probably. And traiLZ deciding to apnea. He now knows that he needs some means to do palaces, so he's going to do some things.
It seems like he just wanted an easier way back to the west part of the East Continent.
Yeah, the reptile being so close to the start is a good reason for taking an apnea. And traiLZ entering Naburu, which I believe is the one that has the fairy spell.
It is. jkoper is back in the west, is doing his own little dive into Death Mountain. We'll see if he does what traiLZ did and just take a peek at the surrounding caves, or if he tries to pass through since he has the candle and it's easier to traverse now. Now, I would believe while he's on the west, a smart play would be to make his way back to Mido, since he can turn the medicine in. He doesn't know what spell is there yet, but also with Fairy, I haven't seen the cost, but I'd assume at Magic 4 he can at least cast it once. He can get that down stab technique.
Yeah, and to answer chat about abstab technique, well, before it was, almost no one got the abstab technique, but when players started winning some races because the abstab technique can be required in Great Palace, that has kind of changed, but it has been changed lately again because traiLZ and Q-Lane and some players have kind of discovered a way to make the abstab technique not required, doing some clipping to the blocks in that room in Great Palace. So yeah, we will see where the abstab likability goes from here.
So jkoper has decided to actually dig out Death Mountain, take some pass-throughs, use the boots to his advantage. And does find the Hammer Cave fairly quickly, for how bad Death Mountain can be at times.
Yeah, and the good thing that could happen for him is finding a spell item linked to Thunder, which is what we're missing on both sides.
I think I personally would want to actually find the hammer. Even though it's disappointing for vanilla, it unlocks at least one item cave in the west. There's the, hammer blocked item here in Death Mountain. It unlocks New Kasuto. traiLZ is headed into Palace 4. He's got Fairy to get through doors. He's got the Reflect spell needed to defeat Karok. And it's just a magic jar on jkoper's side. Definitely something he'll be, picking up, but probably not what he was hoping for.
Yeah, well, it could be kind of required because the cost of Thunder is almost always over 64, so having at least 5 magic containers is not a bad thing. What kind of worries me about jkoper is that he hasn't found Maze Island, and he has been in the Eastern continent quite a while. And so yeah, we will see how long it takes for him to find that, because now traiLZ is in palace beating mode.
traiLZ unfortunately finding a dead-end room, having to take a death in order to get enough magic back to cast Fairy again.
Yeah, and that's quite expensive Fairy. With 5 magic containers, Fairy costs at least something like 78, 79, something like that. So yeah, pretty expensive for Magic 4.
Well, definitely the one good thing for jkoper getting that magic jar out of Death Mountain is they gave him just enough magic to be able to cast Fairy, and he is getting his down stab.
Yeah, that could make things way easier to navigate, and also could be required in Great Palace. And traiLZ taking a death in this palace. He's on his last life, and with the fairy spell being so expensive, he's not in a great shape at this moment. So we'll see what happens.
Now these blue iron knuckles are jerks. Now, the down stab, low ceiling, you can kind of you can kind of cheese them a little bit, but regardless, they are still jerks among jerks.
Yeah, thankfully for traiLZ, he got a magic level. However, it didn't make things that better. Now Fairy is like 64 or something like that. Well, no, he is chilled. I believe Fairy is like 45 or something like that. That's still pretty high cost for Fairy. He decides to up an A and start things over. And jkoper going through Parappa Cave. Maybe he feels he hasn't found something on the Western continent.
It's definitely possible if I've been counting my item caves correctly. There's 2 left on the west. One of them, as we've seen, has been boulder blocked, but I believe there is a second that has yet to be discovered, and maybe that's what jkoper is looking for?
Yeah, there's a probability.
Oh, or maybe he's going back to palaces. Now, he doesn't have the glove from Maze Island, but with the fairy spell, yeah, Palace 1 is definitely, gonna be easy enough for him to finish.
Yeah, that's a great option.
There's only 3 key doors in Palace 1, so if he uses his magic and lives smartly, then it should be no issue. Oh, but
please don't
Doom
jinx the
Rattler
player.
says no. I will keep my mouth shut. In that regard, at least.
Yeah, that was a really tough hard for him, but whoa, he gets rewarded with horse head.
Now, if you were jkoper, this being Palace 1, the shortest of the palaces, would you go back in and dive for the item?
Yeah, and jkoper placing his first gem of the night. So, speaking of thunder, which is the thing that could most probably hold up the guys up, it could be New Kasuto, which we know it is hammer blocked, so the hammer could be required. And I believe it could also be in Darunia or Rudo, so the trophy or the kit could be required for it. And I believe that's it. Am I missing a town?
I believe so.
And traiLZ also placing his first gem. And I missed it. Which palace is traiLZ in?
He is in 4.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
He goes back in, looking for an item that could be required or helpful. Something like a hammer, or a trophy, or a kid. And jkoper also going back to Palace 1 for the item. And traiLZ being forced to take a dead to get the item out of Palace 4, while jkoper finds a dead end in Palace 1.
Dead end, but it seems like he's also grinding up some experience. Trophy for traiLZ.
Wow. So yeah, there's also the probability of a key in this palace, and as we know, both players are kind of struggling for keys at this point. And jkoper determined to get that level, but he's close to dying. I don't know how many lives he has. While traiLZ goes for his downstep technique. And well, he has 3 lives, so that's why he decides to use the life spell.
It seems like traiLZ is going back to Rudo to turn that trophy in.
So to answer to C field, we're using challenge on the bracket stage. However, the Swiss rounds were done with a different software that the Alan Heffley can probably tell you about. While jkoper is still looking for the item in Palace 1.
Opting to bypass a life level. And getting another key. So that has been 3 keys he's picked up out of Palace 1 so far.
And Ribbon-neck fight for traiLZ.
And it is a magic jar for the item in Palace 1. jkoper's still wanting some experience, so getting that attack level. Now going back for it and can safely up A afterwards.
Yeah, not finding Maze Allen is hurting jkoper real bad unless he finds the child, a required child somewhere really deep in something like Palace 5. Things are looking pretty grime for him. Yeah, the Alan Heffley, I kind of remember the kind of pairings that challenge used to deal as in the Swiss brackets. They were funny for some reason. They were the most predictable. I don't know, it was weird the way that challenge did the pairings. So, jkoper, I believe he's kind of aware of his situation, and he's in Palace 5. So yeah, he's hoping for the best, I guess.
Palace 5 in his situation is not a bad play because Palace 5 can't be glove blocked.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. That's a good. That's something I wasn't thinking about, but yeah. And traiLZ finding the item room in Palace 3. And it is the hammer.
That is huge.
Yeah, but things could get interesting if jkoper for some reason finds a required child here, and traiLZ goes on the nice hammer trip to garbage that most of the time happens. That could give jkoper a chance in this one.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it is a randomizer. Anything can happen. But I would say the odds are definitely favoring traiLZ at this point.
Yeah, the thing that kind of worries me is that the way that jkoper is navigating this Palace 5 kind of feels like he's looking for the boss and not the item. So yeah, we will see what happens. Hopefully for him, he stumbles upon the item. without wanting to.
And oh boy, we've got the jump spell for traiLZ.
Yeah, not required, but still a very helpful spell, especially in Great Palace. And Palace 6 also has the Canadian hole that could be required to be jumped. So if you're feeling insecure about it, having the jump spell is a little bit helpful. And traiLZ going into Palace 1.
Another dead end on jkoper's side. Palace 5 is quite large for, a non-great palace. All sorts of twists and turns make it maze-like. traiLZ making super short work of that horse head.
Yeah, this is the kind of Palace 1 that has the boss really close to the start, but getting to the item is kind of a very long task. We'll see if he decides against it. So yeah, that plays in his favor. While he enters Palace 5, also as jkoper is, and yeah. We know it is long, but we will see. Now jkoper being led to the left of the palace. That could be good for him.
He's tracing back some of his steps here.
traiLZ finding the boss of Palace 5, like 10 minutes before jkoper. So yeah, that's the thing. Sometimes there are these rooms that force you to choose up or down, and well, that is the deal. traiLZ defeating Guma and about to place his 4th gem.
Here's the thing, we still don't have the Thunder spell yet.
Ooh, yeah, and jkoper just found the item but has not enough magic for Fairy. So he needs to take a death, but this is moment of truth. This could be salvation for jkoper. Because traiLZ just leaves Palace 5, and yeah, we will see what happens. And it's a magic. Yeah. So, if we want to get creative about the things that could happen, there's a probability of the kid being in New Kazuto on Magic Containers Lady's house, blocked by 7 magic containers. However, traiLZ has the hammer. We're about to find out how many containers the lady asks for. And well, she asks for 6. That's not what jkoper wanted to hear. And we will see what the spell inside this town is. However, traiLZ is gonna, well, he wanted to go, I don't know. he made a face like maybe he just got distracted for a second or something. And it is the spell.
Well, I mean, it is a little convenient that now he can go get the other hidden item here.
So now we know the kit is required, and now we need to think about the locations where it could be.
It's just a heart container there in the spell-locked item room.
Yeah, so the potential locations for the kit are Magic Container's house, Spectacle Rock. I don't know if traiLZ checked the boulder block cave in the western continent.
I don't believe so.
And what else do we have there?
Palace 6,
Yeah.
which is the Valley of Death.
And jkoper finally finds Guma, and he's on his last life. However, he has the shield spell and the life spell. I don't want to jinx him, but very low probability of him dying here.
And it looks like fire might be linked to life, based on jkoper's spell usage there.
Yeah, that makes things even better.
Right, and
jkoper.
Guma down, that is jkoper's second gem.
Yeah, I'm kind of guessing that traiLZ will go back to the Runia to ask. Ah, well, there's no hint. I forgot about that. Yeah, our players are blind. The kid could be anywhere. So yeah, let's see where traiLZ goes to find that lost child, while jkoper fights Ribonek. Unfortunately for jkoper, there's a big probability of him looking for the item here, and it's not what he wants. I kind of forgot, where is the hammer? Do you remember where the hammer is?
I should know. It was in one of the Palace 4, I think.
Okay. Although
Sorry, I
kinda
wasn't
think-
ready for a pop quiz there.
Yeah, because I think that the Palace 4 maybe was a trophy.
I thought Palace 3 was the trophy, but maybe I'm backwards.
Okay. Yeah, that same goes for me. Well, we will find out soon enough. This is a very short palace.
Alright, chat is correcting me that hammer will be in 3, so it must have been the trophy in 4.
And traiLZ finding Buckethead in Palace 2.
Yep, and I got so distracted I missed jkoper leaving the palace.
Oh,
We'll
yeah.
do a pause here and see if he got that hammer. I don't think he had time to get it in the time I was looking away, but you never know.
And traiLZ is going into Palace 2 for the item. So yeah, that kid could be anywhere, and this is one of the places.
Yeah, 2 being one of the smaller dungeons, so definitely not a bad idea to look.
So yeah, 7-8 time is saying something that I kind of feel that's what I saw. Yeah, when jkoper found the room that leads outside in Palace 3, he decided to upgrade.
Alright, thank you,
That's kind of
7-8.
unfortunate. Well, hopefully for jkoper, the hammer could be not required. So hopefully that's what happens for him. But we will see.
traiLZ coming across the dead end in 2, just doing an up and A to get back to the start of the dungeon, as it's faster than walking back.
Yeah, and jkoper on the Eastern Continent, hopefully he finds Maze Island this time.
And it is a P bag in Palace 2.
Yep. Not what you want to see, so now the locations get narrower, and we have Spectacle Rock, Palace 6. The cave we don't know if traiLZ has gotten into in the Western Continent. And Magic Container Lady, which will be interesting because traiLZ only has 5 magic containers. Well, he only needs 1 more. And there's the cave we were talking about.
Yep, and the one I remember was actually a different one, so 2 of the caves here were boulder blocked.
Yeah, I had the same feeling a while ago, but was not sure enough to talk about it. And this one is a hard container.
Ah, we've got Maze Island sighting on jkoper's side finally.
Yeah, thankfully for him, that's the thing that was holding him back the most. And finding that glove, I think he knows he's way behind. And, well, especially when you're against a player like traiLZ. So we will see how that affects his navigation in Great Palace. And traiLZ in Medicine Cave, which was not boulder blocked because jkoper was here already. Picking up the flute that I believe is not needed in this one, because I believe we've seen all the palaces.
Yeah, the only palace we haven't technically seen has been the Valley of Death one, which is not flute blocked.
Yeah, and the entrance, we have seen the entrance to Valley of Death, so I believe there are nothing to be worried about. And traiLZ in Death Mountain. He hasn't found Hammer Cave yet, and we know that's not the answer. I believe Hammer Cave had a heart container or something like that.
I believe it had a magic jar, so
Oh.
if we are, banking the kid a new Kasuto, this could be exactly what he needs.
Yeah, that sounds like it could be a thing. He will be killing a bird with 2 stones, like a friend used to say, and we laughed a lot. But yeah, he's about to get rid out of 2 locations in this dead mountain, out of 3 locations.
jkoper looking for that second item before dipping into the palace.
And Palace 2 time for jkoper, so yeah, we know that's not the answer, but he's gonna place a gem here anyway. And I believe traiLZ is really close to Hammer Cave.
Yes, it should be one of the ones right there even.
So to answer to UV Ramble, the River Devil used to look a lot more like a devil in the Japanese FPS version of this game, and for some reason in the updates that they released in the US, it got changed to this spider thing that we know and love.
It's the magic jar pickup on Victor, or near Victor on traiLZ's side.
Don't say that. I tend to have the thing where I possess the players and they start to mess up. So yeah, don't wish that on traiLZ. Although it would make the race very interesting.
And a quick helmet head takedown for jkoper, placing his 4th gem.
And to answer Chad, yeah, the cross on top of Mito also got changed for a more like a round one, like a I don't know, European 11th century kind of cross. But I believe the item, the cross as an item, is the same sprite in both games. I could be wrong. So yeah, it's really weird how they kind of changed some things, but they didn't change some of them. There were some characters that were like fatter, like way more plump than in these ones, and they are slimmer in this one. So yeah, really weird changes, but overall I believe the American version is an update. It's way better in a lot of senses.
And a lot of it is, cultural differences, of course. Oh, we finally found the boulder on traiLZ's side. It's the kid!
Wow, so Spectacle Rock is the answer. And jkoper is doomed.
Yeah, it definitely is looking slim on his end.
So yeah, now traiLZ just needs to go to Palace 6 in Valley of Death, and then go to Great Palace and finish the deal.
So jkoper definitely living on borrowed time here.
Oh, and traiLZ falling into the trap of the tile, the glitch tile. He was forced back into the Western continent. And traiLZ finding the item in Palace 2, which I believe is a payback.
Yep, and that is disappointment for jkoper.
Yeah, because he cannot even pick up that payback. We need a sword for the fairy, a tiny sword. I've been begging for that update. And today I discovered something else about the fairy spell. This probably is something that everybody knows, but I just found out today, and it is that you cannot talk to people as a fairy.
I think I've always assumed that, but I never actually tried it. But it's good to have confirmation on that.
Yeah, I made an unusual Victor Santa Fe mistake, and I tried to solve it by going back and talking to the magic refill lady, and she didn't want to talk to me. And traiLZ about to pick up his Thunder spell.
jkoper's still wandering around Maze Island. Doesn't seem like he ever found the second drop. You know, he got the glove, which is the important one. But of course, in his mind, you know, it's no idea what it is in the second item drop.
Yeah, and Lightning telling us that in Vanilla you can talk to the magic refill lady. So yeah, I don't know what happened in my game. I don't know if it was any special case of the update or if it happens always. So we still have no confirmation. We need to research more.
As you mentioned earlier, traiLZ putting the jump spell to use to get across the Canada room.
Yeah, especially with this kind of pattern, it's a little bit harder than when you have normal bricks. But there's a pattern that makes the Canadian hole jump way worse. And it is the one that only has like vertical bricks, small bricks. Yeah, that one is
The one that kind of looks like Pez.
Yeah.
So jkoper, now armed with the glove, is also making his way into the Valley of Death. So he will be joining traiLZ in there very shortly. However, I feel that they are going to have slightly different results because traiLZ is in, full dig shake. He just wants to go, go, go. I suspect that jkoper will be looking for an item.
And yeah, Krista Joy, Z2 was a pretty trolly game. It had some pretty mean things to it, like what you're saying, that they put the magic key after you had to get all the keys. And yeah, for example, Palace 5 has some rooms that are clearly trolly. They troll you into dead ends. So yeah, this is a very trolly game and we love it. We have a very deep love-hate relationship with this game. Trails going through the progression Ribbon Act fight. This will lead him either to a dead end, which could be the boss, the item, or lead him to a drop.
Oh, he finds a room with a drop and decides to take the elevator, hoping to find the boss without having to take a drop. Because, yeah, finding the item room instead and opting to say no thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, that one could be a hard container, maybe a magic container. Or something.
Could be a heart container. jkoper's discovered all of the
yeah.
magic containers, so it's not that. Yeah, maybe it's a pea bag, maybe it's a 1-up, something silly like that. jkoper in what's probably my least favorite room of, all the non-GP dungeons. Going past his progressional Ribonac fight.
And Trails finding Barbo.
Making very short work out of some nice combos. That is the last gem for Trails. All there is left for him is the Great Palace. jkoper about to find the item room himself here in Palace 6, and we'll see if he clears it. She is going to, which in his situation is the correct decision. Just sadly, overall, for the race, it is not.
Yeah. And it is the magic key. So yeah, at least he won't have to worry about his magic anymore in Palaces. He has the 8 containers and the magic key. And Trails entering Great Palace.
That's what a 1:18:17 will say for the curtain raise.
So traiLZ taking the first drop that he sees, and it leads him on top of the L7 drop. So we've seen one drop destination and one drop, and there's another drop which we call the Eon drop, and it leads him into the traiLZ drop, into the traiLZ room. So we've seen two room destinations while jkoper about to fight Barba. Really quick palastics for jkoper, and traiLZ about to take a death, but he heals, and still close to death, but he heals again because they are kind of immortal with the fire spell being combined with the life spell.
And for the bracket flags, it still is a short GP, but that will be changing once we get further into the tournament and reach the finals.
Yeah, that's kind of relative. Sometimes you get very long short palaces and very short long palaces, but most of the time long palace feels really different. It's a whole different beast.
jkoper placing his 5th gem. The only boss he has left to face is Palace 4's Karok.
Yeah, he will unfortunately find the trophy there, and that will lead him to Rudo, and that's not the answer.
traiLZ taking a death there. Not entirely sure if that was intentional or not.
I wouldn't think so. I see no reason for it to happen. So traiLZ back in the Jakima's room. Now he knows the lower part of it is useless. So we will see if he finds a different branch on the left. So yeah, most of that part to the right or to the bottom of this room is not useful, and well, the left either. So yeah, it's either go to the right or go to the bottom. Which will you choose, Mr. traiLZ?
It's always the third option that he can up A and not take the Eon drop.
Yeah, that's one of the things that we have open. Here's the ferry room. This is one of the rooms that decides a lot of races, especially if the players find it from left to right, because they have to choose between going up or going down. And that could be a huge game changer in this tournament. It has been in at least 2 or 3 races.
jkoper entering Palace 4. traiLZ is getting trolled by this jump here in this room.
Yeah, the spicy chicken is one of the worst enemies that you can find on the bottom of this room. And this game showing us the effectiveness of 50-50.
Yeah. Trying to get a magic jar and just keep saying no.
Yeah, the Alan Heffley, and one of the new features of the randomizer. Well, you got to commend me. I haven't talked about the new randomizer for like an hour. Is that the spell now will turn enemies into random enemies. So if you don't have enough chickens, you can add more chickens using the spell if you want to.
So we did get a trophy pickup on jkoper's side, and I imagine that's just kind of filled him with a sense of false hope.
Yeah, most probably. So yeah, to kind of sum it up, jkoper took two critical hits in this race. The first was not finding Maze Island, and the second one is not going for the item in Palace 3. Those were the two things that killed jkoper's hope, while traiLZ finds Thunderbird.
Having just enough magic to cast both Thunder and Reflect. A very quick and skillful kill of Thunderbird there.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Oh, and a very quick Shadow Link, Dark Link fight right after T-Bird.
Well, and GG's to traiLZ, who finishes in first place with a time of 1 hour, 27 minutes, and 6 seconds.
And then jkoper is just finished off Karok and is placing his final gem, but unfortunately still has a ways to go as he does not have that Thunder spell yet, which we know is blocked by the child, which is blocked by the hammer, which is in Palace 3.
Yep. And yeah, that's probably one of the last places he will check. So we've got a confirmation that traiLZ will join us in a bit.
And jkoper is headed towards Rudo to turn in the trophy he got.
So yeah, jkoper about to get his heart broken for like the fifth time. Mm, yeah, and just in case I'm hearing trail's music on his channel, so yeah, if it could be turned on, it can be. Okay, hey trails, GG, how are you doing?
Doing all right. Hands are a little shaky.
Wow, yeah, that was a really interesting one. And well, to make you feel a little more calm, I'm gonna change the topic a bit. Did you imagine that you just made a very special occasion of this race by providing us with a lot of music and making chat kind of guess which song was playing every time?
Oh, that was cool. Yeah, that's the track list that I play all the time with Zelda 2.
Yeah, yeah, really nice track. So I want to tell you about the development of the race. Well, there were two things that were really unfortunate for jkoper, and the first one was that the first two times he was in the Eastern continent, he was unable to find Maze Island. So I want you to tell me if it was hard to find. I don't think it was, but somehow he missed it the first two times.
I think there was a cave that you had to take to get you into that area, but I'm not sure. You may have been able to just walk around. Was it next to GP, or was that all? Oh yeah, the GP was blocked off. You had to take a cave.
Okay, yeah, that sounds like a good reason for missing it. And the other thing is that when he was the first time in Palace 3, when he went back to look for the item, but when he found the room that leads you outside, he decided to apnea out of Palace 3. So he still doesn't have the hammer. He has
Oh,
beaten all the palaces, but he still has no hammer.
that's really unfortunate. When I found the hammer, um, I skipped the item in Palace 1 and Palace 5 because I was like, well, New Kasuto. And then I went there and was like, oh, damn, dude, this sucks. So I did the Boulder Lab caves on the west, or the cave. I forgot where the other one was. So I went into Death Mountain figuring, well, maybe I can find something in here. And I got lucky.
Yeah, and well, jkoper just found the hammer, and yeah, there was a point where, well, jkoper was in bad shape for not finding the glove, but he was in Palace 5 and he decided, well, more than decided, he was led to the item room in Palace 5. You got a really short Palace 5. I guess it was because of a up down choice you had to do in Palace 5. One led you to the boss and the other one led you to the whole to the rest of the palace. And yeah, when jkoper was found the item room, we were thinking like maybe he could find their required child or something that kind of makes this race a race again. But unfortunately, it was just a magic container.
Where was the any key at? Because I would have killed for one of those.
Yeah, it was in
Palace
Palace
6.
6. Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't know if you guys know this, but I grinded all the way up until Magic 6 before I started doing palaces.
Yeah, both of you guys were really going out of your way for experience. And at the beginning, it was more about a survivability thing, I guess, but later on, it was the high cost of the fairy spell. Yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah, that was awful. One fairy cast with I think 6 jars. So it was 77 magic points for a while.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was something like that.
This seed sucks. The only thing cool about it were the items or the bosses in a couple of the palaces were really easy to get to. Other than that, the GP was terrible, the overworld was terrible, the cost of ferry was terrible. There wasn't anything cool about this seed at all. Even enemy XP was low.
Yeah, thankfully you took it out on the T-Bird fight. That was a really good fight.
Thank you.
So yeah, now jkoper going to New Kasuto, finding that it is the spell and that the spell leads to something he doesn't want. And then he will probably go to the Western continent to get both of the boulder block caves, and maybe then he will go to Spectacle Rock.
He did already get one of the boulder block caves, the trophy cave that traiLZ didn't check, and that was just a pea bag.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. And Medicine Cave was also the flute.
Oh yeah, I
And
was
they,
wondering because, well, both of you, I don't know if traiLZ didn't go in it the first time, but jkoper went in but decided against it because, well, Medicine Cave with mixed enemies and in the dark is not a very nice option. But yeah, when jkoper got his flute, I was kind of wondering if you maybe did and we didn't realize. But then when you were looking for the kid, we saw you enter that Medicine Cave that was really close to the start.
Yeah, and Peabag Cave was also a Peabag. So the West, a total bust. The Hammer, a total bust. Besides that required kid, I'm guessing he's last locationing the kid right now.
Yeah, sure enough, he is going into that last boulder block cave, the pea bag cave, and I'm pretty sure the only thing he has not checked is the boulder in Death Mountain because he has already been to the Hammer Cave.
Oh yeah, he went there really early. He kind of made two decisions that could have changed things. One of them was going really early to Hammer Cave, but at that time, well, he hadn't found Maze Island, so he was looking for the glove too. And the other one was going for the item in 5.
Yeah, looking for the item in 5 is never a good idea until it's the last thing you have to do.
So yeah, now jkoper in Dead Mountain. I believe the rock was not that easy to locate.
Yeah, the rock, there was only a couple caves that got there. I got really lucky and I took the triple stair cave, the one that's got like the 3 ledges with the large enemies on them. And there's a enemy in the middle. It kind of looks like Resin Peabag Cave a little bit on both sides. But you go in there and it poops you out right next to the rock. So
yeah, we will see how long it takes for jkoper to do this one.
dude, that was a beat seed. And if the kid was in Medicine Cave or anywhere of Palace 1 or Palace 5, I would have definitely lost this race.
Well, maybe, but jkoper was in a really bad shape. I guess it would have been a little bit closer, or jkoper would have had a chance at taking a weird routing in GP.
That cave that he just went into that had that's in it. That's the one he needs to take. It'll put him right next to the rock. Yeah, it looks like there's only 2 caves that'll put you there.
Yeah, really tough location for. Not the worst, but not what you want to see.
It's this one right here, and he's gonna take it. Take it, take it, take it. Yeah, he's gonna do it.
Yeah, thankfully. So tell us a little bit about the Great Palace. What was the answer?
You had to go left somewhere.
What a surprise.
It was really confusing to me. So you made a left
Yeah.
somewhere, and then you ended up. All the drops looped into each other. So if you found that awkward left-hand turn, it would put you right in that area. Or no, it would take you right to the L7 drop room, the bottom of it, and then you would take that Thunderbird first door on the right, and then Darkwing first door on the right after, or second door on the right. My fault.
Okay, so now jkoper heading to Great Palace. We will see. To get to Great Palace, you had to take a cave, right?
He does need to stop by in Darunia first to turn in the child and get his thunder spell.
Yeah, I hope I don't possess him and he ends up entering Great Palace without the thunder spell. That happens. And there's the River Devil. You don't see music being played to that guy very often, so enjoy. So jkoper taking a pass-through cave really close to GP.
I think this will help him out. I think this puts him right next to Darunia. This is the cave I took, I think.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. So Maze Island and Darunia were blocked by that cave.
It's just west of here. I feel like I got there by going down and around though. I feel like if you went down and then to the right and around, you could actually come out at the bottom there. There's a lot of swamp there, I think.
Oh, and you just reminded me of the glitch below the raft tile on the Eastern continent. That was hilarious. Both of you guys well entered that encounter a lot of times, and one of the times it even pushed you back into the Western continent. It was really funny. So jkoper getting his app step technique just in case. Yeah, you don't see that kind of glitch in this game that often, especially in this version that we have played for quite a while. But yeah, sometimes it happens. Sometimes you get some bridge encounters inside of Valley of Death or something like that. Thankfully, it hasn't broken the game almost no time. I believe it hasn't broke. There hasn't been a broke seed with this version.
Yep, and just as jkoper is getting the thunder spell, he does enter a forfeit into the race, saying in the race chat that he doesn't have time to finish the seed or do an interview. I know he planned on doing I think it's a Link to the Past, one of their, what's the word they call it? They've got a special word that I am completely blank. Ladder race, that's what it is.
Nice. So yeah, I don't blame him. He solved the puzzle. So yeah, that's good enough. So yeah, GG's to jkoper, who I believe moves to the losers bracket. So he still has life on this tournament. And traiLZ goes to the winners bracket, and we'll wait for his opponent. I don't know if it has been decided or if we know who he could be facing.
Yeah, if you want to listen to some cool tunes and watch some Zelda 2 Randomizer, check out my channel. That's all I do.
Oh yeah, please guys, go there. It's very entertaining, and he's been testing some of the new features of the beta of the new Zelda 2 randomizer, and you guys can see that I'm very very hyped about it, and I've been talking a lot about it. So yeah, go to traiLZ channel. He does randomizer all day. So yeah, very entertaining. And yeah, well, I think we can be closing up and preparing for the next race, which I believe is happening in 3 minutes. So yeah, I want to give a huge shout out to Gas Power Poggy, I guess, or Poggy, I don't know, who made this restream possible at the last minute. And of course, to Taco for joining me and making this very entertaining and very, 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 very nice race. So yeah, thank you guys, and thank you to Tresco, who helped us a little bit to set this thing up really quickly. And thank you guys for watching. So yeah, any final thoughts, Mrs. Taco?
Just make sure you give both of our wonderful racers a follow. Both are amazing runners. This was just a piece of dookie seed, and they both deserve your follows and or subs. Wink, wink.
Yeah, good night, everybody. See you.
I think we're ready to wrap up. So just real quick, thank you, GG's to traiLZ for the win, and also to Cooper, even though he couldn't finish. That's totally fine. Shout out to Tress, who actually did help me set up the whole thing for it to be as fast as possible, and to our last minute commentators and trackers too, Victor Santa Fe and Taco, who helped me out today. So thank you all for watching. We do have a race that is just about to start. I'm not sure if it's gonna be on this channel or maybe see ZeldaSpeedRuns too. But you will definitely see it live once it pops up. So thank you very much to everybody for helping out, and I hope everyone has a great night. I also do think we have another race a little bit later that I saw that we're talking about on the Z2R channel. Um, though I'm not 100% sure. That one's at like 12:10 EST or something like that. It's a little bit late, but I think it's gonna happen. Just for you guys to keep your eyes open for that. So once again, thank you very much. I hope everybody has a great day or night, depending on whatever it is for you. And thank you once again. We'll see you.